Shalom Israel. Before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Wahara Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who will and teach well, to the Akims on the Iris and Byways and those pushing videos in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Let me put this, share my screen, which I tend to do. Slack here. Yeah, now, there's certain scriptures in the Bible that will be deemed bread and butter scriptures. You know, these are basic scriptures, no real deep understanding. And they're like that for a reason. This is one of those scriptures. This is Proverbs 3 and 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now, saying trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Like, for instance, we had that group, the NFAC, certain Israelite brothers supporting these guys here, you know, because they're walking around with guns. When the Bible lets you know that's not the way we're going to be delivered, that's not how we're going to be, how we're going to receive justice through any kind of mortal weapons. Yeah, it says trust in the Lord. That's where we're going to get our deliverance from. That's where we're going to get justice and judgment from. It says and protection. It says trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not unto thine own understanding, which is something that our people like to do. Now, if it looks and sounds right, then I'll go with that, regardless of what the Most High says. It says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. You know, us being wise in our own eyes has gotten us to the conditions that we're in now, thinking we know better, instead of abiding by what the Most High says. It says, fear the Lord, something a lot of our people lack, and depart from evil. Now, this is an article going back. It's dated the 8th of December by Sid Rap, whoever those might be. And this is about phase 3 trials for this drug company here. It says it has up to 90% efficacy, which is what they were spewing at the time. It says the first full peer-reviewed results of phase 3 trials of the COVID-19 vaccine developed by this company, Astra and Oxford University, show that it is safe and up to 90% effective in preventing infection, supporting regulatory submissions for emergency use. You know, gives you some stats down here. It says the interim analysis published today in the Lancet identified no severe coronavirus disease or hospitalizations in pooled results from the 1,100 adults vaccinated in the United Kingdom and Brazil. Now, jump down to here. It says the trial revealed 62% effectiveness in participants given 2 full doses of the COVID-19 vaccine and 90% in the 1,300 participant subset in the United Kingdom given a half dose followed by a full one. So it says this is a phase 3 trial, which was, well, this article is December, so around that time it would be fair to suggest that there was, phase 3 trial. So let's see what that is. What are phase 3 trials? Phase 3 of a clinical trial usually involves up to 3,000 participants who have the condition that the new medication is meant to treat. Trials in this phase can last for several years. So this article here is back in December. This is like several months, not several years. It says trials in this phase can last for several years. The purpose of phase 3 is to evaluate how the new medication works in comparison to existing medication for the same condition. And currently all the medication that they're giving for this current condition is all these new ones which has not gone through a proper phase 3 trial, because it says phase 3 trials, they can take up to several years, not several months. So this was going back to December 2020, and remember, 90% efficacy. So this is now, this article is Oh My Mag, whoever these people might be. But the date of this is 16th of June, so this is 2 days ago. Now it says it's official. The COVID-19 treatment that the Anglo-Swedish Slovakia laboratory Astra was working on has been deemed ineffective. And this is the same 90% efficacy we was reading about here. And the reason why it's probably coming up with this now is because a proper phase 3, which lasts several years, was not performed. And that's the same with all these other ones that's out there. After several weeks, several weeks, not several years, after several weeks of work, the treatment against COVID-19 launched by Astra was not deemed to be completely effective on patients. This is a new setback for the Anglo-Swedish laboratory, which has already experienced numerous difficulties with its vaccine. Only a 33% reduction in symptoms. So previously, they gave us a 62%. So this is near enough half of what they originally gave us. Yeah. That's why I started off with Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord. A lot of our people don't want to trust in the Most High. It says, Astra provided an explanation in a press release. The trial did not achieve the primary goal of preventing symptomatic COVID cases after exposure. The treatment, codename, was created to prevent and treat coronavirus disease. It was in its third phase of development, and remember, third phase can take up to several years. It was in its third phase of development, and so this third phase, which normally takes up to several years, has been dished out to people already. It's showing you who these trials are, the real trials. It was in large-scale clinical trials to measure its precise efficacy and safety, but they already told us back here that it's 90% efficacy. The tests were carried out on 1,100. It's like 1,100 participants, all over 18 years. But it says a phase 3 is normally done on up to 3,000. The tests were carried out on 1,100 participants, all over 18 years of age, who had not been vaccinated but had been exposed to an infected person. So these phase 3 is meant to be done on those that's actually infected, not someone that's exposed to an infected person. In the 8 days before the survey, the results of the research show that only 33% of symptoms were reduced. Now look at this. Says Astra antibody treatment fails to hit main targets in the latest trial. Okay, let me quickly see. I didn't try to look at this. Open link in new tab. Let me quickly check this, see if it comes up with any info. It's taking this time to load. Anyway, I'll continue. It says the US invests. Research into this treatment for COVID-19 has been fueled by the US government. They invested, look at that. Yeah. How many people's lives could that be used to benefit? Yeah, which is 1.4 Slovakia, 514.6 million pounds. Tidy sum for which Astra was required to produce up to 700,000 doses by the end of 2021. In its press release, the laboratory indicated that negotiations concerning the next stage of the research were underway. Trials will still continue to test the treatment on people who have developed severe forms. Let's see what this comes up with. Slovakia. So it says treatment fails. This is basically what I was reading. Treatment failed to meet its main targets in its latest trials. This is dated 15th of June. Financial Times, fairly reputable news outlet, says while showing it could prevent people exposed to the virus from developing the disease if given early enough, the phase 3 trial of the, and that's the name for it, treatment found that it was not significantly more effective than a placebo. And a placebo is probably the normal types of vaccines given out. Let's see what this is. Placebo. What placebo means. Placebo is anything that seems to be a real medical treatment, but isn't. It could be a pill, a shot, or some other type of fake treatment. What all placebos have in common is that they do not contain an active substance meant to affect health. Okay. Yeah, but that's what it's saying. The treatment is separate from the company's vaccines, which are being used worldwide to protect against coronavirus. Astra has agreed to supply up to 700 doses anyway. But you get the point, you know. They're saying this thing now that they've got here is not that effective. This is why I started off with Proverbs 3. That's where our trust is meant to be. This is Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. And that's what we get from E. You know, a lot of smooth words. When you look at this word here,
Strong's H2505. Chalak. Chalak.
now it says to divide, share, plunder, allot, a portion, a sign. When you jump down, it says to be smooth, slippery, deceit. To be smooth, slippery, to be smooth, to flatter. And this is what we get from E. A lot of smooth, slippery words, a lot of deceit, a lot of flattery, like a 90% efficacy. So it says, the words of his mouth, Psalms 55:21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Yeah, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. This last one I'm going to pull, Jeremiah 17:5. It says, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man. So like I was going back, you got our people that want to trust in man. Now, that's not saying, you know, if your brother and sister want to help you with something, you can't really trust them to do that. But the overall trust that we're meant to have, especially in situations like this, is meant to be in the Most High, because he's the one that's causing these things to happen. So it says, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm. Like those brothers that was supporting NFAC, or making flesh their arm, and now they're nowhere to be seen, and whose heart departed from the Lord. Yeah, we don't want our mind to depart from the Lord, because what, when that happens, that's it. You know, no good will come to us, man, because we're going to be doing totally contrary to what he wants us to do. Verse 7 says, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord. So those that trust in man will suffer a curse, because you fall under the judgment that the Most High is bringing. But it says, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. This is who our hope is in, not in man, but in Yahweh or Hashem Yahushai. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to bring out quickly. Hopefully it was edifying. With that, I'm going to close out, because as usual, our trust must be in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Waharakah Kadash, Kwam Yasha Allah.